I was born an optimist. And I've tried to live my life to the fullest. When you're young, you think you have all the time in the world. But one minute, you're there, and the next, you're gone. You realize that life is fragile and precious. It made me appreciate every moment I have now even more. The first 36 years of my life, I thought I was invincible. I never got sick. I played sports. I competed at a high level. I trained hard, and I pushed myself. But nothing ever really bad happened. Knock on wood. At 37, I started to get sick. I had tons of health issues come up, and it put me in a tailspin. It made me realize that I could die, and I didn't want to die. I wanted to keep living. My health problems were getting worse and worse, and I was getting more and more desperate. And then COVID hit, and everything shut down. My wife and I decided to go to Mexico for a change of pace. We went down to CABO, San Lucas, and we checked into this beautiful resort. It was amazing. The ocean was incredible. The weather was incredible. It was everything you would want a vacation to be. And then literally out of nowhere, I started feeling terrible. I had a fever. I was shaking. I felt horrible. My wife took me to the local hospital. They did some tests, and they said it was COVID. They gave me medicine and sent me home. But as the night went on, I continued to feel worse and worse. So my wife took me back to the hospital. When I got there, I remember going into this room and collapsing. The next thing I know, I woke up in the ICU. It was literally like a scene from a movie. There were doctors and nurses everywhere. They were sticking needles in me and drawing blood. I looked over and I saw my wife crying. I tried to speak, but I couldn't speak. I tried to move, but I couldn't move. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling. One of the doctors came up to me and said, "I'm sorry, but you have to be intubated." I remember looking at him and saying, "No, I don't want to be intubated." He said, "You really don't have a choice. If we don't do this, you're probably not going to make it." I remember my wife coming up to me and kneeling next to me, and she said, "Do you want me to get the kids?" And I remember thinking, what does that mean? What is she talking about? Then I passed out. I don't remember much after that, but I do remember them pushing me into the operating room. I remember being wheeled out of the operating room and then waking up in the ICU again. It was so frustrating not being able to communicate with anybody because I couldn't talk. I was trying to write things down, but I was so weak, I could barely write. All I remember is my wife holding my hand and me squeezing her hand and her crying. After that, things started to get a little bit better. I was able to get off the ventilator and I was able to start speaking again. One of the doctors told me that I basically had the COVID, the pneumonia, the cytokine release storm, and the acute respiratory distress syndrome, all of which are life-threatening complications from COVID. I was in the hospital for 14 days. When I got back home, I had to relearn how to walk, and I had to relearn how to talk. I had to relearn how to swallow. I had to relearn how to do pretty much everything. It was really tough, but my family and friends rallied around me and helped me through it. Looking back, I think what helped me was having something to look forward to. Having that goal to get better allowed me to push through it. I wasn't always successful, but I just kept trying. This experience has changed me in so many ways. The way I look at things now is completely different than I did before. Now, when I look at my problems, I realize they're not really problems. I call them first world problems. Now, nothing really bad ever happens. I lost my job, but I still have my health. That's what I really, truly believe. This experience made me realize how precious life is and that you should never take it for granted. I'm so grateful to be alive. I'm so grateful for my family, my friends, my medical team who saved my life. And I'm so grateful for a second chance. It made me into a better person, a better husband, a better father, a better friend, a better brother. And it also made me an optimist.